everyone, and welcome back to the Football Chuggu Podcast. My name is Thomas Durning, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Pearse McLaughlin. Hello, Pearse.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing well. On today's podcast, we were discussing last weekend's English Premier League results. We were discussing the English FA Cup results and also the Scottish Premier League results. And at the end of the podcast, Pearse will be giving a rundown of all the latest Asian football news. So we'll start off with last weekend's English Premier League results. So there wasn't many matches played last week in the English Premier League, so I'll just quickly go through them. So on Saturday, the 16th of March, the results were Burnley 2, Brentford 1, Luton Town 1, Nottingham Forest 1, Fulham 3, Tottenham 0. And then on Sunday, the 17th of March, there was only one match played, which was West Ham United 1, Aston Villa 1. So, Pearse, from Norfolk, which match from these four matches stands out to you the most?
I think it's got to be the Fulham 3 Spurs nil.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I don't think anyone could see that, envisage that game happening or that result happening because you expect obviously Tottenham under Ange Postecoglou that they've been pretty consistent this season. They're currently fifth in the table, pushing for Champions League places, and no disrespect to Fulham, but they've lost key players from last season. Although they've had some decent results and they're sitting comfortably in 12th in the league. I just you fully expected Tottenham to go on and win that match, considering the players they had at their disposal and the bit of form they've hit. So, but no, for to have 3-0 is a pretty monumental scoreline. And it'll put a dent into Ange Postecoglou's thoughts into his team because I don't think you'd ever envisaged that result happening. But no, I thought that was the standout fixture. I thought Fulham has all credit to go to them. They took the game to Tottenham, and I think they probably rattled them a wee bit. Because I don't think they wanted to make that short journey across London to Fulham and come back with their pants pulled down because that's what the result is basically. Because Fulham have not been great this season. But no, that's probably the standard result for me.
Yeah, that's a standout result for me as well. Obviously, it's a very quiet Premier League matches this weekend. There's only four played, but that was definitely the one that stood out to me the most. Yeah, a really good result for Fulham. I think that was the first time they beat Tottenham in quite a long time. So, obviously it's kind of a local derby, kind of. So, good for the Fulham fans and the Fulham team to get one over Tottenham. And I think that's them basically comfortably safe now. I think they're on around about 38 points, I think. So I think that should be enough for them to stay in the league this season. And we don't talk about Fulham a lot on this podcast, because we don't really need to talk about them because they're just such a stable club and they always finish mid-table in the league. And that it looks like that's where they're going to finish again this season. And the job that Marco Silva's doing is brilliant. I know you said they lost some players last season, um, which is true. And they'll probably have a kind of hard job keeping a hold of the likes of Gil Polina in the summer. Because he's a really big player for them. But yeah, that is my standout result from last weekend. I just wanted to quickly mention while we're talking about Premier League, Nottingham Forest. It was announced yesterday that they were given a 4 point deduction after they broke some rules, some of the Premier League rules. So, Piers, I just wanted to ask you about it. Do you think it's harsh, and do you agree with a points deduction, or do you think it should be something a different kind of way they should do it?
Um, I'm not too sure. I think it is a bit harsh on clubs, considering like Man City's one's still ongoing at the moment, and that's 115 charges. And also we've seen with Everton, they've had two separate charges, and they've been hit with a 10 point deduction. It was then reduced to a six. So, and I'm pretty sure Fulham, not the Forest, sorry, was roughly a similar amount, but they've got a 4 point deduction.
Do you want me? Sorry, Piers. Do you want me to tell you why they were docked 4 points?
When you go,
So it was just for just just for some clarity, so in case no one knows, so it was for breaching Premier League profit and sustainability rules. So the losses that you should only have in the Premier League should only come to 61 million. But the independent commission, they found that Nottingham Forest losses for the 22-23 season breached the threshold of 61 million by 34.5 million. So they're 34.5 million over the threshold, basically. So yeah, so that's basically why the Premier League found that they breached the rules, and it meant that they lost 4 points. So on you go, Pearse.
No, I thought, and if I'm if I'm not mistaken, Nottingham Forest had option to sell Brennan Johnson in January for I think about 35 million. But they chose to keep him, and it was the right decision because he helped them stay up, and they sold him to Tottenham in the summer for 60 million. And obviously, as a club, you should try to get a higher fee, but obviously, with them had the obviously financial stipulations around the financial fair play. It's kind of bit them in the backside. But no, I think it is still incredibly harsh because they're now in the relegation zone. And it's going to be a real fight for them to stay in the league because as you see week in, week out, Luton look as if they're getting a bit stronger. And what what a exciting relegation battle we have in the Premier League. But for me, it's incredibly harsh. But if you're going to punish Everton twice, then I think it's only fair that you have to punish Nottingham Forest as well.
Yeah, um, it's such a difficult one. Um, there seems to be a lot going on with this at the moment. Obviously, everyone they faced it at the moment. Man City are also in the process of reaching it, but Nottingham Forest they said that they're disappointed with it, because they felt that they've been really engaging and cooperative with the Premier League throughout this whole situation. And I think it must have kind of caught them by surprise. I don't think they were expecting a 4 point deduction, and that now means that they are now in the relegation zone. So that means that Luton Town leapfrog out. So obviously, um, obviously that means that Nottingham Forest now are in a bit of trouble. The thing about the points deduction thing is what I don't understand is like Everton were deducted 4 points. Sorry, they were deducted 6 points when they wrote the rules, and then Nottingham Forest were deducted. I don't understand what the rules are for how many points you get kind of docked. So like like if you get like what are the rules for getting docked 3 points? Like what rules do you have to break to get docked 3 points? Like stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know the
Yeah,
rules as to why you kind of get points deducted. I think there has to be a better way of kind of going. So if you're going to get punished, if you've broke the rules and you have to get punished, I think something like a transfer ban for like a season, for example, I think that should be um that should be the way they go. Or you can only spend a certain amount of money throughout the 2 years or something. Like I don't know. Like I think something's got to be done with that because I don't think points deduction's a fair way of doing it. Because I don't know what the guidelines as to if you lose this amount of money, you get deducted this amount of points, or if you lose this amount of money, you get deducted this amount of points. I don't know. It's all confusing. Um, but for the non-enforced are going to appeal it. They said. I think they've got a couple of weeks to do it. I don't know how that's going to go because Everton, I think they appealed it and they got a couple of points given back to them. So it's definitely an interesting one. But there seems to be a lot of this happening in the Premier League this season. Nottingham Forest are the latest club, and we'll find out what happened with Man City, which is a much bigger case because, as you said, they've been charged with 115 cases. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I just thought it was worth to mention that Nottingham Forest have been deducted 6 points. So we'll move on now to the FA Cup results from last weekend. This was the quarter-final stage of the FA Cup. So on Saturday, 16th of March, the results were Wolves 2, Coventry City 3, Man City 2, Newcastle United 0. And then on Sunday, the 17th of March, the results were Chelsea 4, Leicester City 2, Man United 4, Liverpool 3. So I don't know about you, Pearse, it was quite an exciting round of FA Cup matches, but which match stood out to you the most?
For me, it's going to be the Wolves 2, Coventry 3. I don't know if you've seen the match or the highlights back,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
I thought Coventry were outstanding. Some of the football they're playing at times was scintillating, and it's hard to imagine that Coventry's a championship side compared to the Premier League because they made Wolves look like a championship side. Because it's at the Molyneux FA Cup, obviously the side was a bit rotated, but Jose Sa was outstanding, and he managed to keep the score line down. And at one point, they managed to go in front, Wolves, and you thought they're going to go and somehow win the game, which they looked increasingly unlikely. Um, and then obviously two goals in stoppage time for Coventry, and thoroughly deserved the win. I thought, obviously, Ellis Sims, we know very well from his time at Hearts a few seasons ago. He was a handful up front, and then obviously had you right in the 100th minute. 10 minutes added on, he scores an absolute brilliant goal. But no, I thought they were outstanding, Coventry. Um, and obviously they got into the Hatfield semi-final, which is incredible because I think that's the first time they've done that since the 1980s. And obviously they went on to win it at that time. So if you're a Coventry City fan, really, really positive result. And for Wolves, they've had a brilliant season. Gary Neal's done a tremendous job, but I think it was just maybe underestimated their opponents, and Coventry thoroughly deserved to go through. And I also got to touch on the Man United 4, Liverpool 3. I thought that was obviously the big game of the weekend. And I don't think if you said to me before kick-off that Manchester United beat Liverpool 4-3, I think I'd be calling you delusional, you know what I mean? Because I thought it was an unlike Manchester United performance. They went down early on, but the fact is they got one back, galvanised, and you seen the crowd. It's like Manchester United of old. The crowd was right behind the players with no toxicity in the stands, and it was like a third man for them almost, or 12 man almost for them. And I thought, obviously, you've seen the formation at the end for Manchester United. Hanny McGrath's playing up front, Bruno Fernandes playing centre back, Anthony at left back. So it was like all caution going forwards for Manchester United. And you just expect that Liverpool would somehow, with the squad that they had, would just pick them off at will. But it wasn't to be the case, and they looked a bit shell-shocked at times. But maybe it's just too many games for Liverpool. But it quadrupled off for them. Manchester United in an FA Cup semi-final. And no, that was probably the two matches that stand out for me. But I thought that both games were tremendous to watch. You get entertainment,
Yeah.
goals galore, and no, that was the two of the matches for me.
Yeah. The one that stood out to me was the one you just talked about, the Man U Liverpool game. For me, probably best match I've watched this season. I thought it was such a good match to watch. You know, just brilliant 120 minutes of football. To be fair, Liverpool should have won that game, I think, pretty comfortably. I don't know what happened. You know, they were in so much control until the last 10 minutes of the match. He took Salah off for some reason. I don't understand why. And he wasn't playing that great, but he had already scored in the match. But he took Mo Salah off and he took Robertson off as well. And I think when they both came off, I think the level kind of dropped a bit. And Man United managed to get back in the game. And extra time was just madness. Liverpool went ahead, and then obviously in the second half, extra time, Rashford scores, and then literally the last kick of the game, Amad Diallo scores a winner for Man United, and it was kind of good to see Old Trafford like that. You know, we haven't seen Old Trafford like that in a while in terms of fans celebrating late last minute goals against rivals like Liverpool. It was kind of good to see that because they haven't really had a lot to shout about for about the last 10 or so years. Um, so I was quite surprised. I didn't expect Man United to win the match. I think Liverpool were kicking themselves because they were in such control of the match, and they kind of let the match get away from them. And yeah, that's Man United now into a semi-final. And I think Erik ten Hag, I think he'd have lost that match because, you know, this is their last chance of trophy silverware at the FA Cup. So I think if Man United had lost that match, I think the pressure for Ten Hag would have just went up even more. So I think people might go off his back a bit now that he's managed to overcome Liverpool and now they're in the semi final. And then yeah, just a brief mention about the Wolves Coventry match. That was a really good match as well. Uh, fair play to Coventry. They scored two last minute goals, which is so good to see. A Championship club as well. I think you're right. I think Wolves might have took it a little bit too easy. You were talking there about Jose Sa, but I think also Ait Nouri, the left back for Wolves. I think he was brilliant for. He was probably their best player. He created the two goals, and he's going to be. I think a lot of people are going to be interested. A lot of clubs are going to be interested in him this summer because he's been one of Wolves' best player this season. But congratulations to Coventry. Such a good result for them, and as you said, their first time semi-final since the 1980s, which is good to see. Um, the semi-finals matches are already confirmed. So it's Man United versus Coventry and Man City versus Chelsea. So we had the last season. The final was Man City versus Man United. So there's a good chance of that happening again. But we'll talk about these matches and the results when they get played. But I just thought it was good to let everyone know that they're the two FA Cup semi-final matches that will be played very soon. So we'll move on now to the Scottish Premier League results from last weekend. On Saturday, 16th of March, the results finished Hibs 3, Livingston 0, Kilmarnock 5, St Mirren 2, Motherwell 0, Aberdeen 1, Ross County 2, Hearts 1, Celtic 3, St Johnstone 1, and then there was supposed to be a match on the Sunday, the 17th of March, between Dundee and Rangers, but that was postponed due to a lot of waterlogged pitch. So, as always, Pearse, which match from obviously Saturday's set of results stood out to you?
I think probably the standard results probably going to be Kilmarnock 5, St Mirren 2.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
like you say, like both sides quite similar in terms of performances in the SPL this season. St Mirren are usually quite a creative side, solid at
they
the
were 2
back.
0 up in the match.
Yeah, exactly. They're 2-0 in the match and they concede 5 goals in the space of 20 minutes, which
Mm-hmm.
is un-St Mirren-like. And if you listen to the post-match interview from Stephen Robinson, he was just shell-shocked. He just didn't know what happened. He said as soon as they got the first goal, it was something just happened and the players just kind of froze. And all credit has got to come on up because they changed tactics, they changed shape, and they just went for it and it paid off. And obviously they couldn't handle big Darius Vassell up front. Or Kyle Vassell, sorry, Darius Vassell's the former England striker. Um,
Yeah,
so
nice
him,
mistake.
you get a double. Obviously come on like captain. But no, I thought that was going to be a standard result for me because the fact is no team scores 5 past St Mirren, not even Celtic or Rangers. So it shows you it's an amazing feat. And obviously it's just a credit to Derek McInnes, the job he's doing at Kilmarnock. Obviously bouncing back for that Scottish Cup defeat to Aberdeen. And obviously looking to cement a top six finish and potential push towards Europe. And that is certainly a result that's going to send shockwave through the SPFL. Then obviously we've got to touch on Aberdeen winning away to Motherwell. And as you know, we've been touching on Aberdeen probably the best part of the last 6 months. They've just been on a terrible run of form. Um, cultivating and obviously Barry Robson gets sacked and Neil Warnock coming in temporary and he only lasted a month. Never get a win in the Scottish Premiership. Um, and also now the caretaker manager is now get a positive result against Motherwell, who Motherwell again have been pretty steady in the league this season. So for that, it's a quite a monumental result in terms of just easing that relegation playoff threat. And obviously the last game we've got to touch on is probably Ross County 2, Hearts 1. Another team that's kind of down at the bottom of the table, just giving them distance between them and Livingston. And also beating a Hearts side, which again, they've been in terrific form, barring the result against Rangers at Ibrox. And obviously Hearts are now obviously in a semi-final place in the Scottish Cup as well. So their season been really good. And also losing to Ross County. That's Ross County now got two terrific results in the space of a week. Obviously the result against Hibernian and now the result against Hearts. So it just shows you that it's going to get right down to the wire in terms of who's going to finish 10th or 11th and obviously top six in European places. So no, these three results for me would stand out.
Yeah, it was just one for me, and that was the Kilmarnock one. Obviously come from 2-0 down, and scoring, as you said, 5 goals. I think they scored the goals in, as you said, in the space of 20 minutes, which was quite amazing. It was quite, I didn't expect that, and you don't really see Kilmarnock scoring that many goals. Usually the matches they play, the the matches are always quite low scoring matches. So a really good result for them, and that was such a big match for them because obviously the top six positions are right up for grabs, and I think that win for them's basically pretty much secured their top six spot, which is such a great achievement for them considering last season they were in the championship and uh, you know um, coming right back up and finishing in the top six would be a great achievement. And Kilmarnock have had such a good season. They've got some really good players in there, like for example Armstrong, who plays on the right. He's a really good player. And they've got the young player who's only 18, David Watson. He scored a really good goal at the weekend. Actually, I think it was the fifth goal he scored, and he went on a big run and managed to slot the volley really really coolly. So yeah, they've got some really good players as well, and I think top six for them. I didn't expect them to finish top six this season, to be honest, but they definitely are on their way there now. And then I just want to briefly touch on Hibs. They scored 3 goals in the first kind of 20 minutes as well. They had the game wrapped up pretty early, and they're on a 6 game unbeaten run. So they've kind of managed to kind of pick up form, and I think the signings have helped them in January. Like Marcondes from Brentford, he's done really well for them. Malida as well, he came from Germany. He's slotted in pretty well. So it looks like Hibs are going to finish strong this season, and then obviously Livingston, that's them 10 points adrift now, and it's really hard now to make a case for them to stay up. Um, so yeah, and then obviously we'll just see. Obviously Celtic one weekend, they're now top of the table because Rangers match got postponed, but Rangers obviously do have a game in hand, so we'll see how that plays out after the international break. And then talking international break, um, obviously Scotland are in action, so they've got 2 friendlies. So we'll talk about the one match that they're playing on Friday, 22nd of March. So just in a couple of days' time, they travel to Netherlands to obviously play Netherlands in a friendly. So just want your thoughts on it, Pearse. What do you think of the match? How do you think it's going to go as well?
Um, you expect obviously a really tough evening. Obviously, away in Holland, it's never easy for any Scottish side. And obviously missing obviously a key player in Callum McGregor as well. So it'll be interesting to see who slots into his position alongside Scott McTominay in midfield and John McGinn. So it's probably potentially between obviously probably Billy Gilmore or Lewis Ferguson or even Kenny McLean. Um, and obviously you look at the talent that Netherlands have. So it's a really good tester for Scotland. To see where the level of where the Scotland side can go, and obviously we all know the opening fixture of the Euro 2024 in the summer, just around the corner. We'll be playing Germany in the first match, so I think it's they're kind of even teams in terms of Holland and Germany in terms of stature and quality. So it'll be a really good tester, and I think even just getting a draw avoiding defeat would be a really positive result, and it'll be a good confidence booster going into the Northern Ireland game. Yeah, so I think obviously just avoiding defeat and more about building fitness and seeing how the side performs against a top quality opposition, which they truly are, because you've got players like Virgil van Dijk, um, Cody Gakpo, for example. So no, the big good side, it'll be a really good test to see. And also be good to see Scotland play again because it's been a while since we've seen Scotland um, play. So see how we line up, and obviously some new additions into the lineup. Maybe we'll see Craig Gordon. Who knows? Four goalkeepers, so might see them play all four during this camp.
Yeah, yeah, no. So it's a really good friendly to play. Obviously Netherlands are going to the Euros, Scotland are going to Euros, so the level of team that Scotland are playing against is really beneficial for them. That really helped them a lot. It's going to be a really tough match because we all know the quality that Holland have. Under Ronald Koeman, they play really good football. I think they're actually missing a couple of players. So Frankie de Jong, he's quite a big player for Holland. He's going to be out, and Mickey van de Ven, he picked up an injury, so he won't be playing, which is quite good news. uh, Not biased at all. Anyway, no, but so yeah, so it's going to be an interesting match. Obviously Holland keep the ball well. We can expect, we kind of know how Scotland are going to set up. They'll probably set up to play in the counter attack. You said that about Cal McGregor not being in the squad, so I highly expect it to be Billy Gilmore and Scott McTominay in that midfield, which, to be honest, is absolutely no problem at all. It's still a really strong midfield there. I hope to see. I don't know if it'll happen, but I hope to see Lawrence Shankland start the match. Because I think he deserves it because he's been Scotland's best striker this season. Uh, you know, Steve Clark does tend to go with like either Dykes or Adams, or even both of them. But I hope to see Lawrence Shankland feature in the match. Because I think he deserves it. And I wouldn't put it past Scotland if they got a result. I mean, it's not the end of the world if they don't. But what you want to see from Scotland is a performance and the fact they can compete and they can really kind of show Holland what they're about. That's what we kind of want to see. Because although it's a friendly, the Euros is right around the corner, and you want to go into them with as much confidence as you can. So I hope to really see a good performance, and we'll discuss the result next week on the podcast. So for the final part of the show, Pearse will now give his Asian football roundup.
Yeah, so for the part of the show, obviously start off with some G League One action. So on Saturday, the 16th of March, we had Avispa Fukuoka 1, FC Tokyo 3, Hoikuro Console Sapporo 1, FC Machida Zelvia 2, Vissel Kobe 0, Sanfrecce Hiroshima 0, Kawashiri So 0, Nago Grampus 2, Gambo Saka 2, Jubilo Awata 1, Sagan Tucson 0, Sezo Saka 2, Tokyo Verde 2, Alberts Niigata 2, and then Sunday the 17th of March we had Kyoto Sanga FC 2, Yokohama F. Mara 3, Kawasaki Antlers 2, Kawasaki Frontale 1, Shona, and then also the match of the round, the last match of the weekend, Shonan Bellmare 4, Urawa Red Diamonds 4. So it's leaving the table looking like this. So at the top of the table, in uncharted territory, we've got the surprise package, and it's FC Machida Zelvia, recently promoted from the J2, and this is their first ever campaign and at the top of the table on 10 points after four matches. And then you've got Sanfrecce Hiroshima second in eighth position, and then third you've got Cesar Saka also on 8 points. And then fourth and fifth you have fourth, fifth, and sixth you have Kawasaki Antlers, Gambo Saka, and last season champions Vissel Kobe in sixth, all on 7 points. It's extremely tight at the top of the table, but some unlikely names at the top of the table because we have Sanfrecce Hiroshima, Cerezo Saka, and Kawasaki Antlers, who all struggled last campaign, and also the J2 champions last season at the top of the J1. And at the bottom of the table, we have 20th position, we have Hoikuro Console Sapporo on 1 point, 19th, we have Tokyo Verde on 2 points. And then 18th to 15th, we have Nago Grampus, Sagan Tuso, Jubilo Wata, Kawasaki Frontale, all on 3 points, separated only by one goal. So it's shaping up to be a very interesting campaign so far. Yeah, it's been really exciting to watch. So now we move on to the K League One. So it's the third match day. On a Saturday, 16th of March, we had Daejeon Hana Citizen 1, Gangwon FC 1, Daegu FC 1, Suwon FC 1, SSL 2, Jeju United 0. And then Sunday, 17th of March, with Gimcheon Sangmu FC 1, Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors 0, Pohang Steelers 1, Gwangju FC 0, Ulsan HDFC 3, Incheon United 3. So let's leave the table like this. At the top of the table, we have Ulsan HDFC at the top on 7 points. Um, and Gwangju picked up the first defeat. They're now dropped down to second position. And then you've got Pohang Steelers and Gimcheon Sangwoo making up the top four, with all three sides now on 6 points, separated by only 2 goals between the three teams. At the bottom of the table, we have Daegu FC got a solitary point. And then 11th, 10th, 9th, and 8th, we have Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors, Daejeon Hana Citizen, Incheon United, and Gangwon FC all on 2 points. So as you see, it's very tight at the bottom and top half of the table. And it's exciting to see the K League One back and up and running, and it's been really exciting to watch. So Kim Gi-dong has had this to say about Jesse Lingard after his latest cameo off the bench in FC Seoul's 2-0 win against Jeju United. Even though he came on as a substitute, he didn't work hard and avoided tussle. The name value has no meaning on the pitch. I will tell him this exactly. So it's safe to say that Lingard hasn't lit up the K League One by any stretch of the imagination. And he's struggling at the moment in terms of fitness and showing his quality in the pitch. But I think there's been flashes, and I think he will come good. But you'll have to buckle up if you to start any match. So Sano Kaishu, 23, defensive midfielder from Cash Antlers, has picked up an injury and is set to withdraw from the Japan squad. Japan have yet to decide if they will call it a replacement for the doubleheader against North Korea in the FIFA World Cup 2026 Asian qualifier. And Min-Kyu, 24, Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors forward, has been called up to the South Korea squad to replace the injured Won-sang. A shame for Won-sang as he's been terrific for Ulsan HDFC this season and last season, and it had been a while since he got his last senior cap, which was 16 months ago, where he played against Iceland in November 2022 in South Korea's build-up to the Qatar 2022 World Cup. In terms of Son Min-kyo, who himself hasn't featured for the South Korea national team since March 2023, and he'll be looking to continue his good form for Jeonbuk into the national team and add to his 13 international caps already. Competition for places in that forward area and on the wing is fierce, but it's good to see Son Min-kyo and Won-sang get a look in, as players in the K League One are talented, something that Klinsmann failed to do in his tenure, and all credit is to go to the caretaker manager, Hwang Hun-Song. So Japan have just released obviously their squad list for the doubleheader against North Korea, and matches will be played on the 21st and the 26th of March. So let's go through the squad. So in the goalkeepers they have Dea Mekewa, Zion Suzuki, Keisuke Osako, and defenders we have Shogo Taniguchi, Yuto Nagatomo, 30 years of age, still getting called up with the national team, which is incredible achievement. It just shows his longevity and his quality still. Koa Takura, Seiya Makuma, Tsuyoshi Watanabe, Koki Machida, Rocky Ito, Yukinari Sugawara, Daiki Hashioka, and in midfield we have Wataru Endo, Takune Minamino, Hidemasa Morita, Yuki Soma, Ritsu Doan, Ao Tanaka, Takumo Kawamura, Keito Nakamura, and also Kei Shoshano has withdrew because of injury. And then we've got Takefusa Kubo, and in the forwards we have Takumo Osana, Koki Ogawa, Daizen Maeda, and Ayase Ueda. And that's all your latest Asian football news.
Thank you, Pearse, and thank you everyone for listening to this episode of the Football Chuggu Podcast. This podcast will be available to listen to on the Football Chuggu YouTube channel and also the Football Chuggu website. Thanks for listening and see you soon.
Bye bye.